Hi everyone and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you so much for being with me today. Sorry my hair looks like I'm a mad scientist and I've got a 5 o'clock shadow. As you can see, I was busy doing my new setup. It's still in process, so please forgive me. I hope you like it. If you don't know what to tell you. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about something that comes up, and be sure to like this video, share it out, visit my website, StudioJakeMedia.com. And I finally watched The Eternals, and I posted my review of it. It was pretty boring, I'm just being honest. And it's such a shame, too, because it was a movie that had so much potential. And I wanted to talk about, the MCU and where it's going. Now, I haven't watched Hawkeye yet, so I'm not going to comment on the status of Hawkeye, what it means. I did see a spoiler, and this is a spoiler, that they reintroduced the Kingpin, who was played by the same actor who played him in Daredevil, so I do think that was a good thing. But I feel like the MCU is headed into a different direction, one that I'm not happy about. And now I would like to say, right out of the gate, first of all, I feel like with, I know Black Widow and Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Chin, and the Legend of the Chin, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, sorry for that tongue twister, they underperformed, and quite frankly, they were a little bit of a disappointment. However, I do feel like there are certain aspects of YouTube that is exaggerating their faults. And I talked about a little bit about this with Matt's movie reviews. Go and check his YouTube channel out. You can watch my interview with him and everything, where I kind of go into this. And basically what it is Black Widow and Shang-Chi in particular, they didn't really feel like Marvel Cinematic Universe films. They felt more like Disney movies. That sort of spectacle over substance. We're going to have a lot of action, but not a lot of bruises or blood. We're going to have the characters sometimes behave in fantastical ways that maybe a normal person wouldn't behave, or maybe even an Avenger wouldn't behave. And I felt like that is where those two movies in particular went wrong, because a lot of people forget that the MCU, up until Avengers Age of Ultron, it was divided among several different movie companies. So Universal was involved, Paramount was involved, and in fact Age of Ultron was I think was the last movie that was done by Paramount before it went to Disney and then of course Marvel Studios. But the thing was, they had to keep that momentum going, and of course that led into Captain America Civil War, and then eventually into Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, which I think are brilliant films, BT dubs. Now, my big complaint about Black Widow was that it was too little too late. I wanted a Black Widow film in Phase 1, or Phase 2 at the least, but they waited till Phase 4, and that was a mistake because I knew that character is gone, and that was a little disappointing for me. What I will say, though, in regards to Shang-Chi, is that the movie was kind of what I was expecting. It was kind of a homage to Jackie Chan films, but it was still trying to be like serious, like a Jet Li film. Now, the actor said really dumb things. I don't hold that against actors or even movie studios anymore. I just think that comes with the territory. You just got to ignore it and just like what you like. So, I just realized my burning Gundam isn't facing y'all, so I'm gonna turn him a little. Hopefully he won't fall down. My Ninetales is. I'm gonna do the same thing with Rodimus. There you go. So anyway, don't worry, he's shooting over you. Anyway, that was a joke. YouTube. Anyway, and this is what I think needs to happen to fix the MCU. And Eternals kind of tried to do this. It's just it did it in, like I said, a boring way. Was it needs to get more back to the seriousness with moments of brevity. So Iron Man 2, Iron Man 1, and Iron Man 3, I did that out of order for some reason. Those movies were very serious films dealing with Tony Stark's faults as a human being, but they had moments of humor to lighten the mood. But they were still super serious stories. And the same it could be said for Thor. And of course, we know Thor Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy. I know Ant-Man. I know that those movies are more action comedies or sci-fi comedies, whatever you want to call them. But I feel like for this is step one of how I would fix the MCU is I would get back to that seriousness. So Avengers Age of Ultron, which is an underrated movie, and I'm tired of people crapping all over it. It's a great film. Um, Captain America Civil War and Winter Soldier, the Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. We need to get back to those kinds of films. Now, you could kind of see that the MCU was evolving when the Ant-Man film and Captain Marvel came out. Um, and again, I have kind of a thing where, people are like, Captain Marvel was a trash film, and I don't think it was a trash film. They tried to make it more like a buddy cop film, and they made some retcons that I thought were dumb. But, just taking a seat back, was it the worst MCU movie ever made? No, that's The Eternals and Thor Dark World. My point, though, is we need to take a step back. So step one is get back to that seriousness that made those first MCU movies so good, have moments of brevity, and of course you can keep Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy, more of that action comedy if you want, Ant-Man for sure. Step two, they need to not dig so far at the bottom of the barrel. We see this with the Eternals. I am a huge Jack Kirby fan. I love Jack Kirby. I think he was the king. He did so much incredible work for comic books, but it's hard to say this, but the Eternals weren't really one of his most popular works further down the road. Now, when they first came out, they were a huge success and whatnot, and he kind of, and of course, New Gods, which he did for DC, the Eternals and New Gods were kind of, the same side of a different coin, but, still, the New Gods maintained its popularity, so like Orion, Darkseid, but the Eternals did not, and they kind of fizzed out. In fact, when I was collecting comics in the 90s and the early 2000s, I think I read maybe 3 comics where the Eternals even made appearances. I think that, and also they need to stop trying to get these trendy directors. They need to get some directors, and I know this is tough because Marvel Studios and Disney, they want these movies to have a certain branding, but they still need to find directors who are more serious, who have some hits under their belt. But they keep getting these new indie directors, and they kind of don't know what to do with these huge properties. And so step two, stop digging at the bottom of the barrel. I think the Eternals, one of the things I did like about the Eternals was they introduced the Black Knight. And he's one of my favorites of the Avengers B team. And I hope that they do that more. They introduce characters who have some popularity, who have a little bit of a fan base like Triathlon or Stingray, Justice and Firestar, who, yes, I know they were originally with the New Warriors, but they did join the Avengers in the 2000s. They need to bring in characters like this who have like some sort of recognition. And which is what I think they did with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi was a character that even if you didn't read his comics, you knew who he was. Now, like I said, the movie, they kind of Disney-fied it. They didn't take it seriously. But anyway, so like I said, so step one, bring in the more serious stuff, with those moments of brevity. Step two, stop scraping at the bottom of the barrel with these characters. Try to bring in some more of the B Avengers. And I kind of merged step three with step two, which was the directors they're hiring. They need to stop finding these trendy indie directors, and they need to get directors who are more experienced and I know that's tough because then you've got idiots like Francis Ford Coppola, who's a good director, by the way, but then he's like just bashing them, same with Martin Scorsese and all these other directors. They say really idiotic things. That doesn't mean that they're bad directors or whatever. They need to find more directors with a little bit more experience for some of these films, and let the trendy indie directors do solo films. But that kind of defeats what I was saying for step four, which is they need to focus more on Avengers story arcs. So if they want to keep doing the Disney Plus thing where they're putting, where they're putting like, Loki and WandaVision, and I think they're doing Secret Invasion and She-Hulk and Hawkeye as Disney Plus, great. But I think the movies, with the exception of like their high roller stuff, they need to focus on Avengers films. So they just need to do Avengers Annihilation and let the Avengers fight Annihilus, or Avengers slash Fantastic Four. That would be great. Number five, and which this one I have to admit I go a little bit back and forth on, but they need to um, reintroduce some of these legacy characters. Now, I know there's rumors that Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and even there's a rumor going around that Thor, Love, and Thunder is going to bring back some characters, but I don't know if those rumors are true. But if they are, this is what I think they need to do. So, Rhodey's still alive. They need to make Rhodey the head of the Avengers. They need to just make Iron Patriot or War Machine, whatever they want to call him. He needs to be the new leader of the Avengers. And they need to, there's a character in the comics, depending on the writer, it's either Arno Stark or Gregory Stark, and again, depending on the writer, he's either Tony Stark's brother or his cousin. They need to bring characters like those in to be the new Iron Man. And Marvel's not like DC. DC, they don't have. I disagree with the whole mantle idea, where and even with some of the Marvel characters, but with like Iron Man, there's been at least four characters who have been Iron Man, and you could bring in one of those characters to be him. And they need to bring an actor who's familiar with Marvel fans to play the role. Just a thought. And so those are my five ways that I would fix the MCU if Kevin Feige invited me to his office for lunch. This is what I would tell him. So bring back serious story arcs with moments of brevity. Stop digging so far down the barrel. Find good directors who have a little bit more experience. Focus on the Avengers and bring back characters using some of the spin-off or legacy characters. So, that's what I would do. And I hope if you disagree with some of these steps, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll explain to you why you're wrong. But I'm just kidding. No, I welcome disagreement. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And I'm a huge MCU fan. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna dive in. And who knows? Maybe I'll get Marvel fatigue eventually. It kind of started to set in around Black Widow, but then but then Spider-Man No Way Home brought me out of it. Now I'm excited for at least Sony's Marvel universe, and I hope we see more Tom Holland as Spider-Man in the MCU. So I'm excited. I'm raring to go. I'll let you know what I think about Hawkeye. More than likely, my review will be posted on my website, StudioJakeMedia.com. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Like I said, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment below, share this video out, and I would really appreciate it if you chose today to become a subscriber to Studio Jake. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on all my socials that are in the description of this video, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.